This episode, we get to see the rest of the recovery. We open Bullet up to see what broke. I just can't get enough of watching that in slow motion. Whoa, come and have a look. So this is where we left you in the last episode, happily winching up that hill until that rear right tyre started to uproot a giant rock. Again, we see that bar to the rescue. Boy, it came in handy this day. Manhandling Big Bullet he is. Here again, we see that Roadrunner winch, excelling all expectations of it.
That's pretty much maxed out now. You probably got maybe half a metre.
Yeah, stay there. It's not going to draw it over that. Put the next tree up. Got to go high now. Or unless I just put this one higher up the tree. No. It's just got, I need to, you're right, I need to go that way. How much have I got? Let's see if I can get my front wheel up.
Yeah, that's it, Danny. Do we need 10?
Hold it off! It felt like all of a sudden, like inside a minute, it went from daylight to dark. We're still in a pickle here. We only had about 10 metres to go. Realistically, after that, we were on flat ground. This last bit in the dark, we travelled not very far, but it ate up a lot of time. But we didn't let it beat us. Bit of rock packing to help the nose come up. There was a big undercut here.
Can you back off a little bit?
All right, things turned a little here. Shell rang, I took the phone call, she was just checking in, giving her the situation. Now, not thinking, I turned the truck off, but didn't turn the lights off for the couple of minute conversation I had. And then I was doomed. So all that winching and then that last hour or so with the high beam on and the rock lights on, the battery had enough. It needed a break. Now the battery's flat on Bullet. Phil was coming back. So we told him to bring jumper leads. He was still a good half hour, 45 minutes away. The only option we had was to try and get him to snatch me. Now, if I was a betting man, I would not have put any money on him getting me up this.
Hold on, Dad.
Hold on, Dad, all right?
All right.
Go! Oh, you madman! I can't believe he got me up. I can't believe it. That was insane! That was a 100-point pull! That was amazing! Well done! That was crazy.
Hey, mate.
You pulled me front end up, you stretched me again.
Oh, it's even longer.
Okay, you saw him pull me up. Phil's brought jumper leads. The big patrol, strong enough to pull me out. Can it start up a little, Hilux?
Little?
Yeah, hold on.
Did you say
It
little?
should start it.
Little.
It's huge!
Broken.
Well, good broken thingy, my bubba.
Hold it up. Alright, we got power. Lights on again. What do you think, Nicholas?
Crazy.
We're getting winched back. We're getting pulled back to the car by a patrol.
You mean the poo troll?
Oh dear. You still haven't got your rear locker in? Yeah, come back a bit more. Control power! A massive thanks to Adam and Francis. What an adventure, what a recovery. And Phil, yes, you had to go away, but you did come back. You brought jumper leads too, and some beverages. And Nicholas, your second win brought with it a lot of rock packing. I couldn't have asked for 4 cooler boys to have done a massive recovery like that with on Bullet. Thank you to you all. Last job was getting it on the trailer. The up and over guard when you're broken is not ideal. But again, this winch didn't have an issue pulling the nose up and over those guards. So here we are, it's home. Now we've got to make a plan to A, get it off the trailer, and B, find out what broke. I think what I'll do first is get some air in the tyres. I'm going to drain the oil just to see if it gives me any clue. So first we'll take the oil out of the back case, see if we've got any big metal chunks in this one. No, so the oil's clean and there's nothing on the drain plug. We'll take the drain plug out of the adapter. So this basically gets all the oil out of the first case. Yep, clean oil. Nothing on the drain plug. Moving forward now to the gearbox. This oil's going to come out as well. It'll get changed. Okay, that oil's clean. We know it's a clean brake because I could select any gear. There was no noises. It's just what broke. Before we get the dual cab going, one little thing. We'll get rid of this Band-Aid. Michael sent out a genuine hose. Thanks again, Michael. All done. Let's get this recovery started. I couldn't help myself get an action shot here. It feels like it was just the other day that I put this cross member in. Oh, that's right, it was. Rear shaft unbolted, tied up out of the way. So to be able to test what Brian wants us to find out, he wants me to take the rear case off and leave the adapter on the front case. So those bolts, well, they're nuts at the top, are quite tricky. So isn't it great that when I made this tool up for the airbags on the 79, that I can use it here too. So I get my full turn and I have room to pull it out next to the other nut. So in a couple of weeks, this old boy turns 50. Now these transfer cases and diff centers, they're all starting to get a little bit heavy. There's Team Bullet junk everywhere in this street. So I think we've established the issue. The output shaft is broken. Now that's a Toyota part. The reason that we didn't use a Marlin one when there was stock is you can't run a rear disconnect with them. This is a trail gear rear disconnect. So the gears are turning, but the output isn't. So guess what all? Fairy drop in the morning. Fairy drop. And as always, mate, time is of the essence. I'm running a bit late this morning, but we need this open to see what's broken.
Here we go again. Yeah, that probably shouldn't do that. And there's our snappy output shaft. Just right in front of the front drive output spline. So the front drive clutch sits on that spline, the front drive gear sits just behind that. So the front and rear drive are still locked together, but no drive coming through that shaft. Mystery solved. It's a pretty tidy, very clean snap. Not even seeing any metal shards inside the box. Happy days. super flat. Fork off. That's just my little joke. Front drive idler. There's no metal in here, it's amazing. Front drive input. Front output can stay there, we don't need to take that apart. This is a lot easier without that shaft in the way. Reduction case looks all good, there's nothing nasty in there. Happy days, except for this obvious balls up. The factory shaft's got an oil way right through the middle. In the leftover parts box we found this obviously aftermarket shaft, but I was not able to identify it 100%. If you know what it is, put it in the comments. But yeah, it doesn't have the oil drillings, hasn't got the machining margins for the shoulders. It's the longest spline there for the front drive output. Everything else matches. Hopefully a little bit stronger. So here's this week's effort. Snappy, snappy. This one, it's another factory shaft. You can see it's got the through hole, the oil holes. This is the mystery aftermarket shaft. I don't know if you can see. So all the shoulders are machined right up to the limit. The factory shaft has reliefs machined at the shoulder, so there's those stress concentrators there. The front drive input spline there is fatter and it rolls off. So it's an all-round longer, stronger shaft. It's not designed for highway use. It doesn't have that oil way through the middle. So it would probably wear out really fast if you used it on the highway. We don't know what it is, and it's just luck of the draw because I reckon I've thrown away more than 10 of these in the last couple of years. But this one stayed. 10 bullets, lucky day. Nice. This transfer case has been apart a lot of times. I think I've done it 5 times, and in and out of the truck I don't know how many times. But one of the problems you have with aluminium housings is sooner or later you start stripping threads out, and that's especially true with these where the engine mount goes on the bottom. Last time we put this together it was in a hurry, and one of them I'd actually drilled out to the next bigger size and blown through into the transfer case, which is not ideal, but a bit of a disaster. So this time I've run the hole in the thread all the way through and then glued it in there with the secret formula epoxy. And I've taken all of those mounts out to M12 size. So it should be bulletproof and oil proof again. Just in, looks like there's some damage to the spline on the front drive clutch from that breakage. So that should go on that way. But the edge of that spline's been burred over. No big deal. Using this as a mandrel. Probably. Force that through there a couple of times. Magics. get a little narrower washer in there. So we've modified the diff flange nut to go on there, made it a little bit shorter so it doesn't protrude too far into the disconnect housing. The new shaft must be just a couple of millimetres shorter than that. Should sit nice and neat. So let's see if we can get this in a single take. I had not tried this on since we modified this, so this might not make the video. So there's our engine mount. We've drilled them out to 12mm. Actually, they're 12.5 or half inch. We've got our M12 bolts, left to left. That's a good sign. Three out of three. Unbelievable. Ready for next disaster.
Thank you so much, Brian. You dropped everything to do this. I know it was unexpected, unplanned for. Very much appreciated. I promise I won't break anything for a couple of runs. It was heavy coming out, but it felt a little bit lighter going in. I was excited to get this thing running again. It always is easier when you're on the mend rather than pulling it apart. I'm just going to blow out the rear disconnect line, make sure that there's nothing got caught in it while it was apart. New genuine cross member bolts to put in this time. The other ones are a little fatigued from coming in and out. So Michael got me these. Everybody loves new shiny bits, don't they? Look what I just noticed, it's this mark here. So when these springs drop away, the drip travel, this banana shackle goes forward. And I always thought it would act as a bump stop, but it's actually forcing that body mount out of its way. We may need to think about running that saddle bolt for our socials. Take it off for comps, but you can see the W in these springs, which I'm not too worried about because it's dropped the nose, it's not as tall. Again, thanks to Penrite, sponsors of Team Bullet. We've got the 8090 in the gearbox, and we've got that liquid gold 8140 for the transfer cases. So it's all back together. So I'm gonna do one more little test before I bolt up the shafts to rule out, if we do put it together and there is clunking, anything beyond the transfer case flanges. So I haven't started this since Phil jump started me. Loves it. So the little test we're going to do, we're in low, four-wheel drive. We're going to put in first gear, release the clutch. Now we haven't got any drive shafts, so we're not driving, but the flanges should be turning. Okay, there's the rear, it's turning, and the front's turning. Engage the compressor, rear disconnect, and then we're going to go first gear and have a look, make sure that that rear shaft, front shaft's spinning, rear shaft's not. So everything in that case now is working. I also worked out what that smoke was, Adam and Phil. It's the blow-by, so the catch can tap must have been left open, so it wasn't catching the fumes into the can. Just releasing it out of this tailpipe here. So this will be the last video under this username that we've got on this YouTube channel. We want to change it slightly to incorporate Team Bullet and Off-Road. We've got the Portal 79 coming in next year. The kids are doing more and more motorbike racing. We want to describe what we do a bit better than the name that Shell and I chose all those years ago. Something that incorporates Team Bullet with off-roading, motorbikes, touring, We're going to have the Land Cruiser Portal 79 coming in the near future. Comment down below if you've got a good one. I'm along the lines of Team Bullet Off-Road or off-roading with Team Bullet. Hope you enjoyed this. And as always, thanks for watching.